In this video, I want to take a look at the entire full-frame mirrorless setup from Sony. So I happen to have all 6 cameras from Sony's full-frame mirrorless lineup on this table. And I want to talk about the differences between all of them, do a quick comparison, and maybe if you're new to Sony or new to mirrorless altogether, maybe this will help you out in picking the right camera for you. Now, the easiest way to tell the difference from all the cameras is really Sony's intention in serving the type of photography or videography that you are into. I would say that Sony has really implemented 4 types of categories of features that they have put into each of these cameras. These 4 categories are form factor, resolution, video features, and speed. So let's start with form factor. I would say, obviously, that the A7C is their smallest camera because they've gotten rid of the optical viewfinder on top. Sony has still managed to include a viewfinder like the same style as they have on their A6000 series cameras. It's now on the side, on the corner here. But that being said, it is probably not the best viewfinder. That's one of their compromises that they've done with the A7C. The rest of these cameras pretty much have the same form factor. They have the optical viewfinder sticking up from the front like a traditional camera. It's also important to mention that out of all these cameras, the A7C is the only one with a single SD card slot. So if you need dual card slots for what you do, then the only camera that you probably won't want to get is the A7C. The next category is resolution. So for the most part, in the last few years, about 5 years, Sony has decided that 24 megapixels is pretty much going to be their standard megapixel count for their sensors, which is, I think, is a really good middle ground for just about any type of photography. So you'll notice that 3 of these cameras will have 24 megapixels. That's the A7C, A7 III, and the A9 Mark II. So the other 3 cameras differ a little bit from this because of their specialties. If your type of photography really demands a high megapixel count, then you're going to want to go with the A7R4, which has 60 megapixels. A close second would be the A1 at 50 megapixels. Not too shabby either. We'll talk a little bit more about the A1, and if you have seen some of my other videos, I've been doing a lot of videos about the A1, which is basically a mixture of the A7R4, the A7S III, and the A9 Mark II. The third feature that I want to talk about is video. Most of you know already that the A7S III is the video king of the Sony lineup. It has been touted as the best low light and best video camera of the bunch. A close second again is the Alpha 1. This camera can do pretty much anything that this A7S III can do. It's virtually a carbon copy, but there's a few other tricks up its sleeve that the A7S can't do. But in the budget video category, I would have to go with the A7C and the A7 III. These 2 cameras feature some really good video as well, but they are way cheaper than all these other 4 cameras. These come in probably the cheapest and the second cheapest of the bunch, and you get really good video and really good autofocus as well. The last category I want to talk about is speed. The speed of operability and just pure raw processing speed. The king of speed will definitely have to be the Alpha 1. This thing is super fast, best in class. It's shooting at 50 megapixels and it's shooting at 30 frames a second It can do 8K video. It can process all that video pixel goodness, 8K, 4K. It can do 120 frames a second in 4K video. But just pure speed, the Alpha 1 most definitely. Very close second would be the Alpha 9 Mark II. So I have some final thoughts on, just helping you figure out which camera is best for you. So if you're just getting into mirrorless photography, or maybe perhaps you're a budget-minded photographer, I would definitely be happy recommending the A7C or the A7 III. When the A7 III came out a couple years ago, it's probably 2 or 3 years now, everyone's mind was just blown just because of all the features that Sony had packed into this camera, and they offered it at $2,000 for the body. It was just really the best deal in the camera world at that time. Plus the autofocus that they introduced with this camera, it was best in that price range, most definitely, hands down. So I would be very happy recommending this camera. This is $200 cheaper. So if that is something for you, a big deal for you, then I would go with the A7C. And the other main thing with this is that the A7C has a flip out screen. So if you want to film yourself, or maybe you want to use it for a YouTube video, I would lean more on the A7C. It's also smaller, so that really helps with mounting it on like a gimbal. So if you want to use it as a gimbal camera, this might be a better choice. It's smaller. Plus, this camera has a flip out screen, so composing your images and your shots on a gimbal would be a lot easier with that screen. So next you have your niche cameras. So we have the A7R and the A7S, which are really focusing on resolution and on video. And we're adding onto that also the A9 series, because that one is focusing basically mostly on the speed and operability and focusing. So if you're a landscape photographer or a commercial photographer and you need all those megapixels, the R is definitely the way to go. If you are looking for really good video and very good low light capabilities, the A7S is for you. If you want to capture the fastest action, you want to shoot silently and not be noticed, this is the best camera for that. And finally, the Alpha 1 is their flagship camera. This can do the job of these 3 cameras, albeit for the extra $2,000 of price tag from the A9 Mark II. This is just the best of the best. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is probably the most, probably the biggest deciding factor for you for buying a camera. It's the price for these cameras. So we have these first two around the $1,800 and the $2,000 price range. This is the entry-level cameras, but I would say, man, for what you're getting for that price, you're really getting a really good camera. Then we have the niche cameras that's really meant for resolution, video, and for speed. And for this, we have $3,500 for the A7R4 and the A7S III. The A9 is priced at $4,500. And of course, a flagship camera will be your most expensive camera. This is priced at $6,500. So you can practically get one of these 2 cameras or 3 or 4 of these cameras for that price. But this is the best feature set, obviously, so it's going to be the most expensive. So hopefully that was helpful for you if you've been researching mirrorless cameras and wanting to switch to mirrorless, or maybe switch from another camera brand to Sony. I hope this overview of what Sony offers for their full frame mirrorless lineup, I hope it's helpful for you. Please do not hesitate to ask questions on the comment section below, like this video and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
See you later.